everyone doing today? That is my neighbor passing by. So, how's everyone doing today? Wow, good. I'm excited. How's everyone doing with COVID? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of your family members? Are you wearing your PPE? Are you wearing your mask? Are you washing your hands? Because coronavirus is still out there. So, hi guys, I'm Kathleen Harrod, your conscious coach, and I'm the author of the Conscious Collection, which includes the Legacy Workbook, Things I Wish I Knew, Hurt People, Help People, and also there's one more book. Oh, so you think you want to have sex. So I'm the author of all four books that I believe are just right for us in this season as Black individuals and Black families, so we can elevate our conscious minds and elevate our families and empower them. So I'm super, super, super excited. Glad you decided to join in this live or watch the replay later. Make sure you tag and share with your friends and let them know that I am on live in this moment. Now, later on, I will be on the Conscious Hour and I will be sharing some information or sharing my thoughts or whatever about the Trinity situation. Trinity is the young lady who was abused in her garage by her, it looks like her dad and maybe her stepmom. And so later on, that's one of the things that I will be talking about on the Conscious Hour. I'll also be talking about some other things during the Conscious Hour. Not sure if I'm going to include anything besides that. I may talk about Niecy Nash and things like that. I'm not sure, but I know the Trinity situation, the young lady who was beat up in the garage and abused, chased like a slave by her own parents, cussed out. I know that's one of the things I'll be talking about later on the Conscious Hour. But right now, I want to talk to you guys about the Legacy Workbook. I'm so excited about the Legacy Workbook. I know that it's a project that God laid on my heart to share with my community and with my people. He's given me such a passion for my people. And I sincerely believe that this is something that I am called to do. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I appreciate God for trusting me to do this. And I remember a long time ago, I was a part of a church. I was living in Cincinnati, and I was a part of a church. And one of the guys, one of the pastors from another church came to visit, and he came to teach us um, during the time when our church was having these what do you call them? We were having like these sessions where we were learning to be like a more formidable church. Like we were going back to what makes a church, you know, how we can serve, how we can be servants of God and true disciples, and you know, just trying to do a little leg work, right? And so one of the guest speakers was a professor at a seminary, and when he came to speak to us, one of the things that he mentioned was how important it is for us to be the creators of our own works. In other words, to be the creators of our own books and things like that. And I really took it to heart. At that moment, at that time, I shared with him one of the books that I had written at the time, and he was excited about it, and he was like, look, that's something we really really need to do. And I think it's important. I think it's critically important, because even when it comes to religion, we have to realize that other people don't worship like us. And when I say other people don't worship like us, I'm not talking about the candy version of how we do church. To me, that's just like the candy version, right? However sweet it is to us. Like, you know, we have our own way of praise and worship. Most of the time, we are more vocal, we're louder, we're more expressive, we're more dramatic, we're more emotional. And that's just how the Black church operates, from the Pentecostal side to the Baptist side. That's just how we move, that's how we do things. And so, but in terms of how we worship and how we are as individuals, I think it's important, and I agree with him, because we are just two different races. We're different races, And that's the part I think a lot of times we don't understand. We're going to church, a lot of us, and we're going to church and we're asking God for something. We need God to do something. We have more single parents in our church than white people have. We have more need in our church than white people have. We have more suffering in our church than white people have. And so when we go to church, our experience is quite different because we live on different scales. Because um, the truth of the matter is, we live two different life dynamics. The wealth gap is a real thing. When it comes to the black and white community, there are so many disparities until we can have the same God, but we are not having the same experiences in life. And so when I wrote these books are really centered towards bringing us into a place where we can start to begin to have the same type of life experiences. And we can also have a great foundation that we're coming from. And so when it comes to the Legacy Workbook is all about basic foundations being laid in our family. So if you look at the details that I have concerning this book, then you'll kind of get to understand exactly what I'm saying in a better light. That's just my phone. So I'm going to get into the book a little bit, and I don't know quite how I'm going to do this because I can't show pictures the way I want to show pictures. But anyway, let me just show you a graphic of what the Legacy book looks like. So this right here is the Legacy Workbook. Why it looks like that, I'm not sure. But let me show you. Okay, that's a better pick. So the one you see right there, excuse me, according to how you're looking at your screen, the big one right there, that's the Legacy Workbook. The Legacy Workbook has 7 chapters. Excuse me. The Legacy Workbook has 7 chapters. The first chapter is committed to asking one specific question or addressing one thing, which is being black. So being black in that particular chapter, really the only thing that I'm talking about is um, in simple terms. It starts off in simple terms. America has made being black about having brown skin. Then they branded brown skin as a symbol of disgrace, mockery, lacking intelligence, genius, and smarts. Next, the majority race made it okay, or should I say lawful, to oppress, abuse, and antagonize people of color. Our lives were disrupted as the colonizers forcefully separated us from our rich culture and heritage. Understand they set us free, but they regret the action. Yes, we were freed 400 years after slavery, but oppression, discrimination, and racism still exist. What's changed? Today, we are more conscious of this behavior and more aware of the structural system called racism. We fight differently. Therefore, it becomes our duty to reconstruct our existence and to define who we are. So, as a part of this book that you'll be reading, the Legacy Workbook, and following through with, that is one of the points that I wanted to make about what we understand about the past and about our history and how they see us versus who we really are. So, what we'll be doing, the number one thing is building lasting bonds. This is very important because a lot of times our children don't really understand who we are as a family. They don't understand what it means to respect the family name. They don't really know what any of those what those qualities are, and they don't really exist in our household in terms of really laying out who we are as a family. And so this is the time when you have this book and you're moving through these chapters 1 through 7. It's not a long book. It's only 40 pages long, but I guarantee you this will be the most empowering piece of literature works you will have in your home as a starting point. Um, Creating lasting bonds. There's exercises you'll do in there together. You're going to be learning as a family together what it means to be black and then how to implement all of these chapters into your life and why they're so important in your life. So building lasting bonds, as you're spending that time together, as you're going through the chapters together, you'll be relating the message to your seed of how important they are, how important your family is, how important being black is, and how proud you are to be black. The second part is teaching lessons that leave an imprint. When you are going through this book called the Legacy Workbook, you will be leaving an imprint. And that is super, super important because we have to understand that everything we do, everything we say, everything we share with our seed is leaving an imprint in their mind, in their heart. And we want to make sure we are conditioning our seed to have the best life experience possible. And every time you read one chapter, every time you go through whatever exercise, you're going to be doing just that. You're going to be leaving a lasting imprint. And that's something that's important. It's important to the black community that we begin to stamp the messages in their heart and in their mind in the home before they go out into the community. And so this is a great way to start them on that journey. The third thing is strengthening their conscious mind. This is all about conscious mind building. And when it comes to having a conscious mind, this means that they don't operate from a subconscious where they really don't think about what they do and how they feel about themselves and who they are and what they represent. It means that they will know that they'll have something to hang on to. And so when they leave home or they're out in the community or they're out and they're approached by different people in different situations or whatever, that conscious mind thinking will be right there to fire them up so they make the best choice. And also so they'll know how to respond. I don't know if we think about this, but when your child is out in society, when your child is at school, when your child is not in your presence, they may be in the presence of someone who has their own thoughts about them. And implicit bias is a big thing, especially with young children, especially with young children who are in school or in different settings. Implicit bias, there is, you have that where they know they're being biased and racist, but then you have implicit bias, which means they have a subconscious thoughts in their heads about what they believe about black people. Things like they can't learn, things like they're unintelligent, things like black people are more likely to fail. When people have things like that registered in their mind, it doesn't make them a good teacher or instructor for your child. And so your child needs to have in their mind who they are. They need to be built up concerning who they are and what they represent and their ability, right? They need to know that they are capable. And so when you turn the light switch on in their mind about who they are as you go through the Legacy Workbook, you're also going to be developing their conscious mind to the point where when they are at school learning, when they are out in the community and doing whatever, when they hear something that is against who they truly are because you taught them differently, then that switch is going to go off and they're able to basically deflect or to block the thoughts that that person or that energy that the person is trying to bring into their life. And that's super, super important. And we don't think about that. But we have to think about building our seed up too. So that every time the enemy comes and says something or plays something or does something, it doesn't register in their mind as for real. They have to have a reject button. And this book will help them to set the reject button for information that is not true about them. Each chapter breaks down the lies, the facts, and then the truth. That's very important because if we don't debunk, if we don't break down what the lie was, and then follow that with the facts and then with the truth, and you like, well, what's the difference between the facts and the truth? Well, the facts are pretty much the springboard to laying out basically what it was all about. So I can give you the facts about an event that happened, and then I can give you the truth about like why it happened or what's the consequence or what's the result. And so you need all three of those pieces. So I give you all three of those pieces. I am I give you, sorry, I give you all of those pieces so they can establish. So that's how you break down and establish that conscious mind. So I give you all three of those pieces. So strengthen their conscious mind. Number 7 is foundational chapters. Each chapter in this book is foundational. There's nothing about this book that's just I just want to go over some information just because I want to go over some information. No. Each part of this book has a purpose. Each part of this book has a deliberate purpose to increase their ability to consciously think, right? And what does it mean to have a conscious thought? It means that regardless of the situations or circumstance or whoever's involved, they are able to have a conscious thought and to make a good decision or choice. Or, and when I say make a good decision or choice, remember I told you they need a reject button as well. So it also means that when somebody says something to them, they don't take it to heart and let it disrupt their own train of thought, thinking, or formed ideas that the family has established. And number 5, creating a family covenant. So after you go through these 7 foundational chapters, you're going to be able to create your own family covenant. And I don't think we know how big that is. I know just a couple of years ago, I joined a church because I had relocated to Cincinnati, Ohio. And I joined this church. And anytime you join a church, churches normally have a church covenant. So the church covenant kind of reads like, we're going to do everything that's in the Bible. We promise to live by the Bible, to love, that we know that part of our commitment is to love your neighbor as you love yourself, to care for one another. There'll be no gossiping, no backbiting. If we have a problem, that we will solve it, within our church camp, so to speak. And so we see those covenants. You're supposed to read that covenant. You're supposed to tell the pastor that I agreed to that covenant, and you're really supposed to live by that. Well, guess what? Why doesn't your family have a covenant? Why isn't there a covenant on the wall in your house? Part of the foundational practices is establishing who you are, what your name means, what the family means, what are your values, what are your expectations, and all of that. So you're going to create your own family covenant. I show you how to do that. I give you links as to where to find examples of family covenants and all of that. The next thing on here was building that family crest. This is so important. Number 6. When you build that family crest, I can show you my crest. When you build that family crest, you're saying to the world and you're saying to your children, we are important people. We have a purpose on this earth. We are here by design. There is work for us to do. We're going to produce and be a part of a productive society. That is what you're saying as you build your family covenant and now build your family crest. Every part of this crest has a meaning for me. And when you build your family crest, your crest will have a meaning as well. When you choose your animal, when you choose every part that you want to go on your shield, if you choose to have a shield, most people do. And so every little part on here means something. From the gray patterns you see there, the colors actually mean something. Gray to me means I'm about my business. The purple for me means royalty. So I'm about my business and I'm all about the family. So that's why you see that tree there. I'm all about the family. I'm all about a strong foundation. I'm all about us growing, becoming stronger, wiser, more knowledgeable. So then you see the book. I'm all about learning. I'm all about knowledge. I'm all about sharing that knowledge. I'm all about educating. And then you see the brain. I'm all about us being mentally fit, mentally healthy, sharing knowledge and wisdom. I'm all about us being conscious. As you'll see down on the banner, it says conscio animo, which means conscious mind. And so that's what I'm all about as the conscious coach. You see my name, Harriet. You'll have your name on your crest as well. And my name means legend. It means legacy. It means iconic. And I wanted it in that particular font and I wanted it printed that way. So every piece of this I've chosen the lion because I am strong. I'm in beast mode. I rule. Look, I'm all that. And then I have the little blue snakes. Do you see them up under the lion's foot? Because I believe in crushing the enemy's head. And then I have the crown because I'm a queen, of course. I represent royalty, of course. All those little studs on there are all my life lessons I've learned throughout life. That little line in the middle going between the dots means that I stay in balance. Like every piece of this means something to me. The cross on top represents my faith, which is over everything I do in my life. And then all the little squiggly lines and the banner, all of that is my femininity as too, because I am a woman, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. So when you build your family crest, it should have just as much meaning. Whatever you want it to represent, it should totally represent. And then from there, the final thought is we are all going to wear the title of Black even better. Like we can only get better. And I say it all the time. What's wrong with improving? People, well, why are you saying that we're going to restore the Black family? Ain't nothing wrong with the Black family. Well, the Black family can get better, right? Sometimes too, guys, we live in this little space of denial about where we truly are. And I'm just one of those people. This camera gets on my nerves. I'm one of those people who I'm not into denial, right? There's no reason for us to deny where we are. We've been under the bridge of racism for so long. Some of us got lost, in all the abuse, neglect, the unfair treatment, and all of that. Some of our families are suffering. Some of our families got lost, and that's okay. And so this book just helps us. Sorry, guys. This book just helps us in that way. Now, I feel like I should have never even touched it. So, this book just helps us in that way to get back to what. Sorry. This book just helps us in that way to just get back to who we are and what we do. So, that is super, super important. And so, don't forget that there's a book out there that can help us, and it's called the Legacy Workbook. So, guys, thank you so much. I just want to share that much with you about the Legacy Workbook. I'm going over right now to actually work on putting it on my website, which is at khconsciouscoach.com or khconsciouscoach.org. And you can see all of that. And you can order it from that page, you can order it from Amazon, or you can order it from me. All you have to do is cash out me. I will send these books out. I have new copies coming in the mail because I have to ship some out to different people, but khconsciouscoach.org, you can inbox me or whatever you need to do, and I will get these books to you. So make sure you either go to my website, and I'm getting ready to do some things on my website now because I do need to add the Legacy Workbook. So you can either inbox me, you can cash out me, you can go to my website, and there you can order the books. Whatever route you want to take, just get this book. And I cannot wait for you to get all of my books, but especially the Legacy Workbook. I kind of want us to start with that, and then we can get the rest from there. So thank you guys for joining me on this live. I'll be back later to talk about the Trinity situation and a couple of other things during the conscious hour on Thursday. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tag a few people, share, and even you can make comments. So I don't know if you know this or not, but when we're on chat, when I'm on live, you can always type in your question that you may have. And if you can see this, I'm just saying hello, but if you can see that, then why am I not on YouTube? Where's my YouTube? If you can see that, then you can see all of it. So anyway, where's my YouTube? I'm trying to see where is my YouTube. Hold on. For some reason, I'm not on YouTube. Have to check that out. All right, but thank you guys so much for joining me on this live. Yes, I just put a big truck in a mall.